Yes, hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Viola Edward, and I'm a mentor since I have a consciousness of myself. For that, it is important for me to be celebrating today the National Mentoring Day. And I will tell you how I become from being a natural mentor to be a professional mentor a little bit later. But now I want to welcome you all, and I would love to introduce you our guests. We are waiting for a very, very special guest today, which is
7:32.
Chelsea. Yes, can you please mute? Yes, and we will leave the camera for the speakers. So I want to introduce my dearest friend and sister in my life, Saskia Harkema. Saskia is an academic trainer, mentor, and human rights defender. She is CEO and founder of Faces of Change, senior expert of the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs, co-founder of Move into the Future, and global ambassador for Female Wave of Change. The programs she develops are all centered around empowering people, developing their leadership skills, and supporting them in becoming agents of change. Welcome, Saskia. I'm so happy you are in my life. I
Thank
can't.
you.
I will take the whole program to express. And I want to welcome Jessica Lockhart. Bienvenida, Jessica. And Jessica is a humanologist who works with and for people, offering them tools to live their life they want by combining discipline like mentoring, coaching, and linguistics. She is director and founder of the International Institute of Humanology. She has developed optimism coaching, a method to recover optimism, and humanology, a discipline that combines academic knowledge and life experience. We're talking about mentorship here. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much, Viola. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm really thrilled.
Yes, and dear Saadet Ozdemir is experienced in international business development with a demonstrated history of working in a diversity of sectors, education, NGOs, industry, skilled in mediation, coaching, advocacy, and training and development. She is educational leader for the MENA Regional for Impact Leaders International, an initiative which mobilizes people to explore their entrepreneurial spirit and purpose to become leaders of social impact and sustainability. Welcome, Saadet, welcome. I think, please check if, let me know if Chelsea came in. And dear Harbin Kaur Kang is a glider and pilot turned journalist. Where is my husband, who's the glider and pilot here? Turned academician and entrepreneur. She has traveled to about 45 countries, has always been an avid reader, and deeply interested in English literature. She is General Secretary of Ludhiana Management Association. She is an independent director on the board of director of several institutions, and she, along with her team, pioneered the first British parliamentary debate in India at PCTE over a decade back, which has remained an annual feature under LMA since. Welcome you all. And we are waiting for the founder of the National Mentoring Day, that she is in different meeting today. So she's gonna be with us in any moment, and then I will introduce her. Okay. Oh, let me at once introduce her. It will be good to know who she is while she comes. So Chelsea Baker is one of the UK's leader business mentors. With a career spanning over 20 years in media, communication, PR, and marketing, she has mentored hundreds of business and individuals and received many notable awards for her contribution to mentoring and to society. Chelsea is an inspirational mentoring campaigner who founded National Mentoring Day to celebrate and recognize the impact of mentoring. The initiative had gained worldwide recognition with the aim to make mentoring accessible to everyone for all ages, background, and ethnicities. So we will be welcoming her very soon. Welcome to all our guests and all our companions now. Let's take a deep breath, all of us, and let's start our celebration. And we designed with Saskia, Saadet, Jessica, and Harpreet this webinar as a conversation. So I'm gonna be saying some of the question, and then we'll go one by one, sharing our point of view and so. So we are talking today about celebrate, connect, and educate. So let's start with celebrate, because when we celebrate, when we have the joy inside, everything else will be easier. What is an important achievement you have realized in mentoring someone, a group, a team, or an organization? Who would like to start?
I can go first if you like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I celebrate mentoring all the time because I think it's a journey. Not only I learn, but I get to know other people, other cultures. But you know, sort of from my perspective and our organization's perspective, we continue to raise awareness to the plight of lots of people, and in this journey that we believe that we can make an impact and influence mentoring globally in order to protect the social fabrics of our society and socially change for a peace movement. So mentoring is a gift that I have, that I'm glad that I'm a mentor, because I met many people in many nations, many countries, war-torn countries to Western societies, and worked in organizations, trade union movement, and mentoring has taught me more than what I've learned at university about people, social fabrics of our society, and networking.
Thank you, Saadet.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Would you like
Perhaps
to continue?
I could answer as well?
Yes, Jessica. Same answer. Yeah, same question.
I work as a humanologist. That is, I study and explain human beings, and that's no easy feast. That's no easy feat, and it's very unique in its approach. But when people work with us and we mentor them into understanding and knowing who they are, so they can take control of their reality, of their beings, of their circumstances, their whole life changes, because it's like we help them expand their worldview and they immediately start seeing new opportunities for themselves. But because we work with human beings and for human beings, we do it all like from the inside out. We focus very much on who the person is, what the person has or doesn't have, and how to improve based on that. So our approach is quite unique in that type of mentoring style, very human. And when somebody tells you, I finally understand who I am, what I want, where I'm going, and how to get there, wow, how can we not celebrate? So we celebrate helping human beings know who they are. Can you imagine? It's fantastic, I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Harpreet, would you like to continue?
Certainly. Thank you, Viola. So for me, it's I started about 21 years back talking and counseling and mentoring to a lot of young people who wanted to have startups in life. And I noticed over the next few years that it was more about tweaking what had gone wrong. You know, when something would happen, then you would say, oh, you should mend it by doing this, or now here's a challenge and you probably want to rectify it by doing such and such thing. And I kind of agree with what, you know, I've just heard from Jessica, because what I did was take 2 steps back, and being an entrepreneur myself for over 2 decades, uh, and understanding from your own learnings, it was taking 2 steps back and not actually working in that reactive approach and completely turning it around into a proactive approach where you think about every time a person lands up in a soup, is in trouble, something comes up unexpectedly, people fluster in their elevator pages and everything. And it's their mind that takes over them. It's the fear and the anxiety and the insecurities that don't really allow them to think the way they ought to. So the way I started working is I spent the first few months working on the personality or the thinking patterns or working positively towards life at large. Because when you do that in everyday life, then every day is a celebration. And every situation that comes, you're not going to outlive your own self when you deal with a challenge. You will react the same way to a business as you react to other situations in life. So that was a huge breakthrough for me, what you asked about. And I think it's lovely. I've enjoyed it ever since. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very inspired by Saskia, our work together. Saskia, what would you answer to this question?
Yes, I would like to, when it comes to celebrating, refer to my work with refugees. And one of the programs we developed, this was a while ago, but I regard as something to celebrate, was a program which we called Unleashing the Power of Refugee Women. Because you have to imagine that that refugee women, they have lost everything, and they have had really to face many hardships. And then, of course, you lose not only in the material sense what anchors you, but you also lose your self-esteem, because often when you come in a host country, all your education is not worth nothing, and you have to also face lengthy procedures. So we wanted to work with them to give them back that sense of that they really are valuable and important. And we worked for 2 years. It was a program with 5 organizations in 4 countries. And it was, I must say, one of the most important programs also for me, because I learned so much also from them. Because I saw that even when you are at the bottom of your life, what an incredible resilience people have. And so we worked this program. It was a 2-year program. I will tell maybe later a little bit about it, but it was incredible to see that, and you cannot imagine what kind of things they had gone through. It's really whole families being massacred, villages being burned down. So you could say this is the worst we could imagine. And yet, one of them is always in my mind. She's Alice, and she's from Zimbabwe. And if I see her now, she now lives in the UK, and how she has fought back. And for me, that is mentoring, is that you really, and I totally agree with Jessica and with her creed, it's really tapping into this fountain that people have of vitality, resilience, and hope also. It's there, sometimes it's totally buried, but it's there. And if you manage to touch that, then something beautiful starts to happen.
Thank you, Saskia. I will tell you my opinion about this question, but because my dearest Chelsea is here and she's all day in different meetings, so we will have her for 15 minutes. If you allow me, I'm going to ask Chelsea a couple of questions while she is with us. Is that okay? Chelsea, welcome. Welcome, and thanks to you, we are here united today celebrating what you created some years ago. Chelsea, I want to ask you why you are so passionate about mentoring.
Oh my goodness, I could talk for hours on mentoring. I've been mentoring for nearly 3 decades now. So thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here today. Sorry if I was a little bit late because I'm on Zooms all over the world at the moment. I've just been speaking in Parliament in the United Kingdom here. So it's just wonderful. What incredible initiatives that are on this call today. And this is why I created National Mentoring Day, is to shine a light on the great work that you are all doing. This touches my heart to hear these stories, because we're still in a process of educating. The reason I launched National Mentoring Day was I myself mentored hundreds of 16 to 25-year-old young people with a government program here in London. And I saw the difference, the change that it made to young people's lives. There was ex-offenders on the group. There was people who, were suffering with mental health issues, autism. They'd lost their families. The difference it made to those people's lives, they were changed forever. Now many of them have successful businesses. And what I love about mentoring is that people who have been mentored go on to mentor someone else, because they know, they've seen firsthand the difference. It changes lives. It makes such a difference. So the reason I created it, and I'm so passionate about it, is I saw firsthand the difference it made, not just to a few people, but to hundreds. As an experienced business executive in Viola's told you, publishing, media, marketing, comms, etc. I have a lot of skills, experience, wisdom and stuff to share with people. And I thought, right, and then the government program began to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And we realized very quickly that we need more mentors to keep up with this demand. And unless we have an official national celebration in each country where we can thank mentors and thank those selfless individuals for the amazing work that you do, like we've been hearing on the call today, it is so important. And that's why our global ask is to recognize someone who's made a difference in your life, to thank that person. They are very different, recognizing them, thanking them, and then mentor someone on the day. We're in a world of social media where we follow, we tweet, we tap, we like, and I'm not interested in that. I want people to go out and mentor somebody. And for us as an organization, we shine a light on the amazing initiatives that are out there in the world making a difference, because people still are coming to me and still we're receiving hundreds of emails on a daily basis. People don't know what skills it takes to be a mentor. They're still confused over the fact that, I think they seem to think that mentoring, you need to have a business degree in it or to have a certificate in it. And that's not the case. We all have, as we all know on the panel, we all have something to offer, life experiences and wisdom to share as a mentor, and to gift that on to somebody, to enrich somebody's life with it, is so critical and so needed in this world today. We're trying to create a culture of togetherness, of oneness. And I think by raising the bar and elevating mentoring worldwide, then this will help us to create that more healthy, positive society that we really need to make this change happen, where we're all working together. So I'm passionate because I've been doing it for so long and I've seen a difference it can make. But also, thank you, Viola. I think that it's great that organizations are working together. I think if we can work collaboratively, where we can share research, data, statistics, and what's working in mentoring, what's not working. We've got a huge change at the moment with all the young people programs, the ex-offender programs, because we're now using technology. We're now mentoring on Zoom because of the pandemic. So that's you get into very difficult situations when you're filming and Zooming for the young people. There's all these technology adaptations that we need to have as well at the moment. So it's shining a light on all the great initiatives out there, and thank you, mentors who are making a difference across the world, like you all. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Chelsea, for being here with us today in the middle of all your busy day and being in Parliament. And do you, Jessica, Harpreet, Saskia, and Saadet, do you have one question more, one of you that have one more question to Chelsea, and then we let her go? Who will do that question?
Hi.
Yes,
Chelsea?
Jessica.
Hello there.
Again. It's a pleasure to get to know you a little bit today. I have a question for you because you mentioned something that really should be highlighted today, and that is you don't need to be anything specific or particular to be a mentor. But if anybody has knowledge on a specific field, I usually compare it to apprenticeships in the past, you know, with the guilds having their apprentices and the professionals teaching their apprentices. So what would be your number one advice to people who think, maybe I could become a mentor? How would you say they have to go about it? How would you encourage them to start on this process? Because I think we need to encourage people to really decide to become mentors.
What a wonderful question. And thank you for touching on it, because it's engagement. We're asking everybody this National Mentoring Day to commit 1 hour on one day, one person. That's the call to action. If everybody then goes on to mentor 1 hour, what a wonderful world it will be. So how do they go out and find somebody to mentor? And that's why, I mean, we're using the hashtag today, hashtag National Mentoring Day. You've got organizations from all over the world who are showcasing their mentoring initiatives. So my first guidance would be to consider what type of mentoring you want to do, what skills you have, what life experience you have. Could you mentor military veterans? Could you mentor ex-offenders? Have you had obviously been in that situation yourself where you could shine a light and be that support system for somebody in the prison system? Is it young people? Is it at-risk youth, disadvantaged youth? Is it working within the care homes? Is it becoming a health mentor? Do you have nutrition skills or fitness? We have a lot of sports mentors. So I think if you consider all the different types of mentoring available, and of course, business mentoring, career mentoring, leadership mentoring, technology mentoring, and then actively go and seek the organizations in your local area. So all you need to do wherever you live is to search into Google mentoring within the areas that you live, see what's on your doorstep first and give it a try. And then you can move to national organizations. Here in England, we have huge organizations that are mentoring kids, mentoring teens, etc. So that would be my first step, is to think about what type of mentoring you want to do, what you can give back, and then find a local organization where you live and then sign up to the scheme, give it a go and try it. And what better time to try it than on National Mentoring Day for 1 hour? Just everyone has skills to share. And my advice would be just to give back to somebody. We all know, and we can all see many, many lost souls in our communities. If we just reached out to that person who is unemployed, if we're employed and they're unemployed, how about that we give them a step up and say, hey, I understand you're not working at the moment. Could I help you write your CV? Could I let you learn how to use Zoom? I'll set up your accounts. I'll set you up a social media account. I'll educate you on whatever, you know, information and skills that you need to progress to get a job. So it's just looking about how we can give back as a society as well, because we've got the paid mentoring, we've got the free mentoring. And I think it's very important to address the two, is that as executives, I mentor on PR, marketing, broadcasting, media. But then I've got my humanitarian, which is mentoring, which is National Mentoring Day. I've been working on this project for 8 years to advance and elevate mentoring throughout the world. And I don't get paid for this. So I think it's very important to address the balance as well.
That microphone, Chelsea. Sorry, Chelsea. Do you still have time? Do you still have time?
Yes, I do. Yes, plenty of time.
Okay, Sadet.
Now, Chelsea, how do you then, in your national, at the moment in the UK, how do you reach out to linguistically, and culturally diverse communities?
So we've partnered with, we've made sure that we partner with organizations who are in that sector. So for example, we're working with the Diana Award, who are working within those sectors. And we've got an organization for every sector that we've partnered with to then shine a light on the great mentoring initiatives that are making a difference within all those different communities. So
yes, plus you want to take it, plus there is a plan to take it nation by nation, yes?
Yes. Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay, any other question for Chelsea before we go? Before she goes, we're gonna stay. Chelsea, yes, sorry, yes, Harvey.
Chelsea, you brought out about, you know, how everybody should be able to spend that hour a year on mentoring, whether it's kids or teens or anybody. And that's one dimension. It's wonderful. I love that. Are there other dimensions that you're looking at because you're pioneering this effort in the world? And are there other dimensions you're looking at in expanding this beyond demographics?
Absolutely. The plans that we have are very thick. So this is a worldwide initiative, and we're going to, that's why we're talking with Viola, but it's my aim and my mission that mentoring should be accessible to every business, child, adult group that needs it. So to make that happen, we're going to partner with all the different organizations in each country in the world so that we can, as an organization, we can then allow every country to have their own official National Mentoring Day. Because if you just say, oh yeah, it was a World Mentoring Day, it's an International Mentoring Day, it gets lost. We need to make sure that that each country goes on to celebrate their own National Mentoring Day to highlight their national mentoring initiatives and their national campaigns. So that's why we're working with each country one by one. We've already been in talks with 5 or 6 different countries to roll out the program. And now we're seeking funding to expand the website to get all the resources translated into all the different worldwide languages. But that takes time. We had to make it our mission to make this a huge success within the United Kingdom, to get government support, to get government recognition, and to roll this out to make mentoring accessible within the United Kingdom. That goal has now been reached, and you know, there's hundreds of initiatives all starting and launching today on the 27th of October for National Mentoring Day. And now we're going to be rolling this program out worldwide.
And we have a dream. That first time I heard it from you, Chelsea, and since then, I keep saying it everywhere I go, that by 2030, nobody is left behind. Everybody has a mentor. So we're working for that. Nobody is left behind. Nobody should live their doubts and their pain or their creativity alone. So the idea is we make that more and more accessible so nobody is left behind. Thank you so much, Chelsea, for all your inspiration and your work. I'm a witness for the 4 years I know you, how much energy, capital, time, you name it, you have put in this initiative. And I thank you, and we thank you in really, really, because it's part of our lives too, to be acknowledged and recognized worldwide.
Thank you so much. It's been so lovely to be here today. Thank you all for taking the time to recognize the impact and importance of mentoring. And I think, you know, the answer to your question as well, Harpreet, is that there's a lot in the pipeline, because we mentor 365 days a year. This is not a one-day initiative. Our sole aim is to promote the mentoring initiatives that are making a difference across the world, and make sure that we're recognizing and thanking mentors. So mentoring never stops, and there's lots that we have planned for the future to make mentoring accessible to everyone. So it's been my honor and my pleasure to be here today. The amazing work that you're doing. Thank you so much for your contribution to mentoring, all of you, each of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Okay, I'll sign off. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful webinar. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, here she is with all her passion. So I wanted to answer also the first questions, and mine's gonna be a little bit more personal. First, I remember, like kind of mentoring my mother when I was almost 4, 3 years and a half, almost 4, when my father died and she was pregnant, and I could see the drama of her. And I remember like taking the role of guiding in small steps. And I think since then I get that thing. And then my sister came after 3 months of my father passing, and she came in a very tragic household, and also between life and death for another year. So that happened. That what happened is that later on I have this girl that I mentor since ever. So I was the mentor of my sister for all the time, because I was taller, and I was kind of how you say, she catch me later on in life. But for many years we were like this, and I was in the obligation and the duty, because then we were three women, 3 girls. My mom was 24 years old, to live and to, with our grit and resilience, to pass through life, through immigration, etc. So this is one experience before I become professional mentor. And then also when I was very young, before 20, and I was living in Venezuela, then we have these neighboring countries, Argentina, Uruguay, Chile, who suffered terrible time, dictatorship. And Venezuela opened their door to receive many people during that time. And I was part of a group that we will go and receive refugees at the airport. We use, and I was so young, but because I already was a migrant, I already become a refugee, because we came from Lebanon in 72, and then it was a war for 15 years. So we never again could go back. So at that short age, I could understand what this professor or these women, even when they double my age, felt of leaving a country that they love so much and were obliged to run away. So I remember I get the name of mentor or tutor or mentor, this young girl, they will call me, this young one. And then my love for psychology, it was so, when I was 11. And then, I start reading and learning, and had the great good luck that my first mentor, which is Dr. Umberto Blanco, when I went to do my first training in 1984 about transactional analysis, he looked at me and you said, "You have experience on this, don't you?" Then he, as soon as I finished the first level, he tell me, "Now you're gonna assist me in the second," and so forth. So since then, I'm in this field in different areas. So I think for me, first, the fact that we live in a home, these 3 women, that each one will mentor the other in the area that we could, because my sister, who needed so much attention, she was full of joy. And now she's called the Master of Joy, because she mentored us how to dance and how to laugh and how to, even in poverty or on difficulties, how to get over. My mom will mentor us in other area, and I will mentor them in very early age about many subjects, entrepreneurship and businesses, etc., and how to be resilient. So it's like I feel like I grow up into it consciously. And this is where I am today. And for that, I'm so engaged with mentoring. And this is what I do in life. I train mentors in different areas, being breathwork or being for business or consultant, etc. So I wanted to share that with you, all my dear friends. Yes. Shall we go to our second question? So it's beautiful the way how Saskia created this question here. And because we're talking about celebration, connection, and education. Connect. What contribution would you like to make to roll out mentoring worldwide, so we can team up someone who is marginalized, poor, disenfranchised, with someone who can act as a body? Who would like to start?
I could take a dig if you want.
Yes, please.
Some of the things that we are doing is in terms of scholarship. That's how it begins, and then it goes to detailed lifetime changing, altering of mind, counseling, career options. And we already do that. not only in India, we do it in several countries abroad as well, where we get students to receive education and help them uh, pick up a line of their choice and take off, whether it is as a job or it is as an entrepreneur, both ways. I think both require a lot of mentoring either way to fit the bill in so many words. And I'd be happy to, if there, I'm not sure sitting in India what organizations are working and how it is taking off, but I'd be happy to. I'm constantly in touch with Dr. Saskia. She is the one, along with Pam, who is working for the past 3 years at PCTE. They have put our incubator at a different level so we can help contribute a lot more startups in eCells. I'd be happy to hear from you and Dr. Saskia on what is going on, and we'd love to contribute more and get more into the mainstream, as we say.
Thank you. Thank you. Saskia, would you like to continue?
Yeah, okay, I'm unmuted. Yes, I think it's very important because what we, of course, now see happening as a consequence of the crisis we are facing because of the pandemic, you see that many people are losing their livelihood, they're falling prey to poverty, losing their jobs, and I'm, as Preet mentioned, also for PUM, which is from the part of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, working with countries to see how you can support these marginalized groups with setting up small businesses. And this is really about mentoring. It's really mentoring people because for me, this also was, I have to be honest, in a sense new. For instance, I'm now working also in a rural area in Colombia, and these are very small farmers. You know, they have a very simple life. They sell oranges, or they sell bananas, or they sell onions, and this is what they do. And they now, of course, have lost their jobs. And how can you not only sustain these businesses, and how can you also help them grow? But these people don't have education, so they are often even illiterate. They cannot read and write. So you really have to then, this is, I think, a chance and opportunity. It's, as Jessica said, I really like that apprenticeship idea. You know, you just work together, irrespective of somebody's educational level, and you see, you know, how you can work together in creating opportunities, creating a perspective. And I think that's really important. And it's also showing people that we all have a talent, and we all have something which makes us unique, irrespective of, you know, where we come from. And if you emphasize that, if you emphasize and you people start to believe, oh, I do have a talent. So let's say again, this small farmer who sells oranges. I said, well, you can make so many things from oranges. You can make cream, you can make marmalade, you can make ice cream, you can make, I don't know. So, and then they kind of start to believe, oh, wait a minute. So I don't really have to have 3 titles or something like that. No, you just stay with what you're passionate about and you start to use your creativity. How can I somehow enlarge that? And this is what mentoring does, that you, I think you really have to also, for me, this is crucial. Mentoring is also committing to a relation. This is not just, you know, like for a short period. You commit to a person, you commit to the relation, and maybe you go for the long haul. Maybe it can take years, and maybe that person will also always stay in your life. And I think that's also the challenge, maybe sometimes, because somehow you are also facing situations which can be very painful or difficult, and they become part of your life. And as a mentor, what you don't want is to solve someone's problems, because then you are disempowering them. You want to empower them. So you see them struggle and you want them to get on their own feet. So I think, yeah, I'm very curious to hear also what the rest has to say, because yes, sometimes I find that a challenge, because you have to stay away. You know, you have to say, no, you have to do it.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Who would like to continue?
Maybe me? Mhm. Well, as I said before, what we focus on is human beings and explaining human beings as the basis for everything else. We developed a model of the human being based on 4 elements: personal essence, beliefs, worldview, and personal sphere, that helps us understand every person in the world. As simple as that. It's quite a unique model. And then what we do is we have this model of the person, and on top of that, we have like, sorry, we have like an umbrella. Each of the spikes of the umbrella represents a method, a tool, or a strategy that we can use for people to grow or develop themselves. So, analyzing those 4 elements of the person, we see what that person needs, and then we take whatever tool is required. And that is our number one contribution in this field, because without that understanding, you can't really mentor anybody because you don't know what they need. You don't know what you can give. So, understanding the human being is the first step. Then we have tools like, for example, the 5 basic human needs that explains what it is that a person actually really needs to feel fulfilled. And it has nothing to do with food. We're talking about more like a spiritual level. And that will help them understand why whatever they're doing is failing, because they're not really fulfilling that basic need or those 2 basic needs they need the most. So our approach always starts from that. Understand who you are as a mentor first, and then understand who your mentee is as a human being. And then, based on that, together you will create or you will define the objective, the goal that the person wants to reach. Together, you will analyze what obstacles there are on the way, what lacks there are, and most important, what strengths, what values, what abilities, and what skills the person has, which ones he or she doesn't have, and how to build them. So together, you're really building up the person. And I think that that should be part of any mentoring process in the world. It should be an integral part so we can actually really help the person undergo a complete process of transformation, but, and I cannot emphasize this enough, a transformation that he or she wishes to enroll in. It's not like Saskia said, it's not for us to tell them what to do. It's for us to tell them how to do whatever it is that they want to do. We're here to give them the how. We're not here to tell them the what. And I think that is something that every mentor should realize, because a lot of people become mentors and say, okay, I'm going to be the boss and you're going to do what I say. That's not mentoring. That's being a teacher. You're telling them exactly what they should learn and how they should learn it. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about deep growth. And that deep growth can only be reached if you really approach the human being from the inside out.
Thank you, Jessica. So inspiring, and couldn't I be more in agreement with you? So I think we waiting for Sadet.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
How can, I suppose I also do a lot of work with Saskia, who's also a very amazing woman. What we've done in the past jointly is that we've been doing leadership training in some parts of the world. We started with Turkey. We came across 15 people and we mentored them after the course was finalized. And those 15 of those people, at least, was it 12 or 15, Saskia, get me right? It's not about the figures, but out of all these people, 7 of them are now actively involved in community activities, and they became mentors themselves. Now, most of these students were in the eastern part of Turkey. Some of them were refugees without any status. Others were local people, and they came from all walks of life. And then, and we also did a similar training with a group of second year, third year engineers, almost from all over the world, that representing, it was, sort of Europe, as far as, Turkey, Eastern Europe in particular. And through our leadership training, one of the things that, sort of, and it's all thanks to Saskia, that we use a tree to bring them back to their roots and then create, sort of first to find out who they are, but also gave them the tools, not just tools, but raised awareness, linked them in to other, sort of groups so that they can actually mentor other people. So we didn't directly talk about mentoring. We talked about leadership, and being a good leader is to take people with you, not walk behind them, but walk side by side to them, sort of to be the role model for them, so that we use different types of terminology, not to scare the young people, but we actually achieve that. And we're currently also doing another train the trainer program, which one of the aim is to, sort of, it's about peace and protecting the social fabrics, but how do we become active, but also engage, and then talk to them, not talk at them, but talk with them, highlight the issues, be their guide, sort of take a journey with them. But fundamentally, that the foundation of all this is about acknowledging who they are, acknowledging, sort of what they went through, and understanding, having the empathy, but above all, understanding the culture, because none of these things will work unless we respect the culture that they are coming from and have some respect for their language and, sort of their knowledge. So it has been a long journey. I've learned a lot, and, sort of, and I've changed completely. I've done some work with the Yazidi women and found out how resilient they were. Saskia was touching on the resilience, that after going through a whole lot of torture and enormous human rights abuse, that yet they still, sort of pull their community together. They had the knowledge, the know-how to put their issues to one side to build the community. I think if, I do apologise for the men who's listening to this, but our motto with the Yazidi woman was that if you save one woman, she will save the community. And that's what they did, living in that community. So it's about engagement, it's about empathy, it's about understanding, not talking to them, walking with them, showing them, and helping them to settle in a host country or settle with their own issues, but also to think it's not about me, it's about the community. Without the community, we're nobody. So it's building communities.
Yes, thank you. And for me, it has been for the last 2 years, thinking how we can multiply the effort, how we can spread, how I've been working since I'm 13 years old, so now I'm 61, and I work between 12 and 15 hours a day, and I do so many things for me and for others, but still is how that can be multiplied. So now my sister Layla is living with me in Cyprus now, and we were talking, and it took us 18 months actually to see how we can put, because she's also a psychotherapist, breath worker, and Chinese medicine doctor, and how we put our experience of so many years being into a simple way. So we come with the idea that we, in agreement with Harpreet and Jessica and Saadet and Saskia, what are the fundamental things that really people need to go through, like we went through, yes? And for me, what was my capital also through the changes that I have in my life, and this is my 4th migration, is my qualities. What was through all this time, what are my natural resources? So what we did is build a program, and it's the, I'm going to tell you about this program, and I think it's the first time in my life that I really feel rich, like really wealthy, because of that program. And it's a program of 7 sessions that englobe many of our experience done in a very simple way, where we're going to work about quality, about thought, about dream, and how we take dreams that are not ours and we spend time on them, how to find out our dream, how to get them, and how to make a shift in paradigm according to which personality and which momentum in life we are. And I'll explain to you later about the program. But the fact is 7 sessions, 2 hours a week, is 7 weeks. And then the second part of this program, it will be training mentors and coaches to be able to deliver this in the world. So, so now I got it. How? And then we were looking for a name, and we come. My husband always tell me that you're grit because you have grit, and indeed I have grit. But we were constructing the name that is growth, and is from the own resources, and is to be inspired and inspire others. And both of us, we are breath workers, so the inspiration, it was to endless transformation. So we come out with the grit, and it's great like breathing organic resilience, because then resilience not only to stand up is to stand up organically with a lot of wisdom and the experience. But why I'm telling you that I feel rich, because then with this program, because of its simplicity, I can offer it. For example, now for the Lebanese situation, we are offering it for free to many people, to many communities, yeah, because it's possible. Because first we trained the Lebanese grit coach, and now with her we can offer it. So I was saying that, wow, after all these years having to think about where to spend here, where to spend there, finally I can spend. And this spending is through mentoring, through this program that we created, because we can give it. Of course, it has a price in some areas, very, very little price, so everybody can take it, but also we can give it for free. We can give it as a voluntary work. And the idea is to mentor as many mentors as possible, so many communities and countries will be able to spread that. And it's a program that works with franchise. And I'm at your service and disposition if any of your communities or institution will like to have this program, so we can talk and see how we can offer it with you. And this is the way how I find, after spending half of my working hours for voluntary work, and this way it will be multiplied and sustainable in a sustainable way. So this is what I'm doing now. Yes.
Viola, may I ask you, I couldn't figure out the part you said, breath work. Is it you talking about breathing,
Yes,
spirituality?
yes, it's a conscious connected breathing methodology that it comes later on as the name under the umbrella of breath work. So I work with one of the methodology that was created in early 70s. And this is another way. This is one area where we mentor. Imagine how beautiful it is to mentor people to know what is the importance of their breath. Is no music, no touch, no talk, nothing. Is a methodology that the person can connect with their own breath. They can break free from the limitation of the breath that had accumulated through life, and engage back with their breath. And from there, obviously, they work this, because thought affect the breath action, affect the breath emotion, affect the breath, and vice versa. So we work it in a holistic way altogether. And I have a program of 600 hours divided in 200, 200, 200, where we train mentors in breath work, the first 200 to do one-to-one, and then they go and start working, and the second 200 to do groups. And after 2 years of practice, they come to train for Train of Trainers. And I've been in breathwork since 1993.
Amazing.
I'm alive because of that, actually, because I used to be a chain smoker. And, we'll talk more about it. It's beautiful methodology. I wish, let's come together and we do a session of that.
Very intriguing. And may I add a little bit to that, if you allow? So for the past dozen years, I've been working on something similar. In fact, part of what I do is I've also been doing my research. So I've read through Vedas and most spiritual texts from 5,000 years back to Lao Tzu from China, etc. And yes, of course, a dozen years of practice of what you've been doing. And right now, I'm about to be published by a European publishing house, and the book will be out in this regard in January in Europe. So when it comes out, I'm definitely going to send a copy to all you beautiful ladies out here.
Yes, and we will interview you about it, and you will teach us about it. Please.
Made my day. Thank you. That's
Thank
lovely.
you. Thank you. So let's go to the third question, which is educate. What is a mentoring skill, approach, method, instrument which you would like to share with us, and what results have you achieved with it? So we just talk about breath work, but you can say something else.
Well, perhaps I
Yes.
could talk about the concept of personal essence, which is quite unique to humanology.
Yes, please.
As I was training to become an ontological coach, I made a mistake and I misunderstood a tool. But as a result of that, I bumped into something quite unique. I called it personal essence because I didn't know what to call it. I discovered a way to connect with our innermost nature. I discovered that each human being has, and this has already been present in many other cultures, mainly in Asia, not so much in the Western world, that we all have this core that is unique to each human being. Well, I created a way to somehow help people discover what that innermost core or innermost nature is. I'm talking about whatever it is that we human beings have that the parents of identical twins see all the time. When identical twins are born, according to the latest science, they should be very similar because they have the same genetic mapping and they still have no experience in life. Therefore, based on that, the reaction should be quite similar, but they're not. Ask the parents of identical twins and they'll tell you they're completely different from the first minute they're born. And that is because their personal essence is different. And that personal essence is at the root of each human being and shapes the human being along their lives. Well, using a methodology based on concepts, I can help, well, not only I, but other humanologists as well today, we can help human beings understand what their personal essence is and how it impacts them and their lives. And it's at the basis of a human being and is the only part of the human being model that doesn't change throughout life. The only one. The rest changes. Our beliefs, our worldview, our personalities, they all change, they grow, but personal essence remains the same and limits us, but also makes us grow. Because by affecting us from moment one of our lives, it somehow leads us to deciding certain things. Let me give you another example. Personal essence is what makes you feel those incredibly strong feelings inside when you sometimes meet a person you know you never ever saw before, and in spite of which you feel really attracted to that person and you don't know why, or repelled. It's like that person, I don't know, there's something in that person. Ugh. That's because our personal essences clash or attract one another. Well, without this basic understanding, it's very difficult for a human being to really know themselves. So this one tool, knowing and discovering what your personal essence is, has completely changed people's lives in many cases. And I wanted to mention it because it's so very unique to humanology, and I haven't found it any other place in the world. So we have this methodology that step by step guides each person into discovering what their personal essence concept is and how it affects them in their whole life. And well, I could talk on for hours about this, but this is very unique and I wanted to mention it.
Jessica, I just want to tell you, you didn't make a mistake. This book was written in 1997 and it's agreeing with you.
Totally, I know. What we did is we created the method to help people discover what their personal essence is.
Exactly. And what is their personal essence? Yeah.
And then by discovering that, they completely understand their lives in a completely different way. And it empowers them very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Such a great.
I want to say that Sadet just sent me a message that she lost internet because there was a car crash on her street, so the internet is down. So she's not going to be able to join us anymore, unfortunately. Yeah,
Okay.
what I would like to share is this is also developed kind of a methodology in this program I told you about with refugee women and to unleash their potential. And it's based on storytelling. I believe very strongly in the power of stories also as a means to not only convey who we are, but especially to kind of also regain control of your life. And that's why I am referring to refugee women. What happens with refugee women, we saw, is that two things. First of all, what I already described, that they lose their sense of who they are, their sense of identity, but also the system makes them invisible. And what happens is that they start to not speak anymore. They withdraw from reality in a sense. They withdraw from society. They go into their own world because they are not seen by the system nor by society. And through storytelling, the methodology we developed, and this was often women that sometimes for 10 years hadn't spoken about what that had happened to them. And it's kind of liberating, because of course you have to guide it, and so we use some questions to guide that. And what's very important with storytelling is also that you limit it. So the idea is not that you relive your whole everything that happened to you, but that you compress it in times so that you also allow people to start talking about things which are extremely painful. And this is something which we did in groups. It works very well in groups because then also, can you imagine, again, I'm referring to this specific target group. You've been silent for so long, you've been not been visible, then you start sharing your story in a group. And this gives a sense of connection and bonding. And what's more important, they start to hear the other stories. And then they start to realize, I'm not alone. And this gives such a strong sense of kind of empowering, because you feel, oh, wait a minute, I'm not alone. And then they also start discovering things they have in common. And this is how they slowly, eventually, get out of this place where they have become invisible, and they start to be visible again, to show themselves. And so I think in this mentoring process, storytelling is I think an important instrument that we use within Face of Change to achieve that. So that people start to own their story also and be proud of their story, even if it's a very painful story. And because you have to go eventually also to your essence, but at that stage it's still a bit too painful, it's also, everything hurts. So a story is a safe way to kind of, in a roundabout way, then in second instance go to your essence, because you have to do that. So works very well. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think Harpreet would like to continue.
I'm so glad to hear what Jessica and Dr. Saskia have just said. And I so empathize with both of you. So part of my work, in fact, there are so many other parameters where we work, but a large part of my personal drive is what both of you have talked about, honestly. See, all our sufferings, no matter what experiences we go through, and we all go through some hard experiences, are driven by our mind. And the fact remains, even while we reach middle ages, that we don't control our mind controls us. And that usually, with desires, expectations, all kinds of issues that encompass us, takes on a heavy toll. So when I first was introducing my work, this is exactly what I was referring to. And I didn't want to take a deep dive, but I think it's appropriate now that when I talk to people, it's altering their minds that we work on. I believe once they understand what is driving them and what the truth is, attachments expectations, systems. I mean, I sometimes even go down to something as basic as that everything that we see, countries, systems, laws, marriages, anything and everything that you're looking at, technology, is all man-made. All man-made. We are living inside this box. And yet, when we need to eat food, we need to go back to nature. When we need to breathe, we need to go back to nature. When we need friends, we need to go back to nature. And near 8 billion people put together have not been able to make one human being, one animal, one flower, one new color, nothing. So part of what I do is take them back to the roots. As Dr. Saskia explains us in the business model also, I do it in a more life terms in a way. So I so empathize with her work in a different analogy though. And take them to understand what the truth is. Remove all the covers, the layers that we have, which don't let us see what we truly are, who we truly are. Like you talked about the pure essence, and I call it consciousness, what we are when we just close our eyes and put away our name, our labels, our form, our shape, who we are inside. And when we touch base with that, then everything kind of withers away. It doesn't matter, honestly. Nothing can matter. Nothing touches us. We've been through all the challenges in the world, and we come back to us every single day after everything we go through. And I am one person who's never given up on me. Nobody has given up on themselves. And that understanding, when they come to that, I mean, it's a very little brief essence I can sort of share over here. But that essence, when they reach there over the first few months, then everything gets easy because the truth is revealed. So whatever comes, they can deal with it in the same flow of life, or rather be in acceptance with the flow of life, I would say, be in gratitude with flow of life. Sorry, I've got a little emotional here.
Wow, no, it's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. We can listen to you for hours and hours. So I was getting quite inspired by your words, and I agree. And I think I already talked about the breath and the essence of the breath. And what I can add to that is, through all the experiences I have had in life, what I get into, where there is breath, there is life, and when there is life, there is infinite possibilities. So this is what I want. If I would have only 1 second to mentor you in something, I will tell you that. I will tell you to remember that. In situation of very difficult situation, on the run, on war, on being abused, being lost, because sometimes we are lost because of something happening outside, and sometimes we are lost because something is happening inside and we are lost. And I always remember when I start my journey in meditation, and I was always fascinated by Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And when my guru explained to me that we say Shanti 3 times. One, for the thing that mercy for whatever happened in nature, that we have to ask mercy from. One, from the thing that others can do to us in their ignorance and to us, so we ask for mercy. And the third one is mercy for what we create to ourselves, and we need also mercy. So I think in that sense, it's in coming back to why it's important to have a mentor, because a well-trained mentor, a well-connected mentor, is an expansion, an extension of your own consciousness. It's somebody who's going to remind you who you are. It's somebody who's going to bridge between where you are now, if you are lost, as I was in my life many times, bridging between where you are, or you think you are, with the where you can be. And that bridging it includes active listening, it includes being involved, it includes being engaged, it includes being trained, it includes being supervised, and all that. When you have and we feel that a lot in the breath work, when you have the space that you feel that you hold, and you can go through storytelling, or through the model of essence, or through whatever our colleague here said, what I'm saying, that you can just relax a little bit and be able to pass, to go through that episode that was so painful to you. And now from a grown-up place, mature place that you're growing in the company of this person, and you can pass that and go to the other side and rebirth to it. And from here is the word of rebirthing coming from, is to be able to rebirth to a situation being whole, the space is whole for you, and you feel safe enough to go through it. And this what is when a trauma is healed. And this is how also through the breath work is a somatic therapy, because the body hold its core. And even though sometimes we understand it in our emotion, in our mind, but still in the body, for that is so important to do sometime energetic practice for our thing. But here I'm talking a little bit from a place of trauma where I went through, and how it is possible with the company of a mentor specialized in certain area where you need. I also want to acknowledge here Dr. Nosrat Eseshkian. He's the founder of positive psychotherapy. And he said for well-being, there is 3 principles. One principle is positive, and positive is coming from Latin, that means positum. And positum means what is given, what is there. Everybody has their resources, their capabilities, abilities. So don't you think, whoever you are, when he is training us, that you're gonna do the work. They're gonna do the work because they have it. They survived without you. So you're accompanying them in the process. So see the whole picture, remember the positum. And second principle was be in balance. And then as soon as he said be in balance, he said, well, life will take you out of balance, learn and go back to balance. And life will take you again out of balance. So when life takes you out of balance, there is the third principle. And that principle is the principle of consultancy. When life takes you out of balance, you are skilled enough to, and you have a lot of experience already, to use your first aid box. But if that was not enough, you need to go to the principle of consultancy. You need an external help, and be wise enough to choose which kind of external help you need, and change as many times as you need until you find what you need. So all those principles are principles of mentoring that I wanted also to share with you today, because positive psychotherapy is one of the methodologies I use also in my work. I think our conversation, I think we're so bonded that we can be hours listening to each other. I just see your eyes of love and care and approval. And maybe we can go, in some moment we have to end this and continue our life together, mentoring each other and helping hundreds of people in the world. So I will go to this question of, what will you do tomorrow to contribute to the overall objective of this mentoring day? And I think Chelsea touched on it a lot, and us also, but maybe we can add something else to it, and maybe we still have a little bit of space, just little, to talk about one more thing that you would like. Jessica, you start.
All right. I start. Well, it's funny because I was recently requested by an organization I work with in Peru if I could prepare some training courses for future mentors, because they have a lot of women. It's an association of women. They have a lot of women who would like to know how to mentor others in their companies, their executives and their managers. And I said, sure. So I created this program, which was officially launched today. So I just wanted to mention it because we hadn't launched the program yet. We were waiting because we just created a new platform for the Institute of Humanology. But because life is so funny and I love it, we were recently requested to prepare this program. So it was born, it was created, and it was launched today. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. That's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I'm going to be, I'm going to be helping other women, in this case, become mentors.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yes, Harpreet.
Okay. Thank you, Viola. Congratulations, Jessica. That's amazing. Very excited, I can see. Um, Honestly, I want to go ahead doing what I'm doing here. Uh, that was part of the reason why I began to write and reach out to people during the lockdown, because a lot of people were low or in a depression, and they were going through a lot of stressful times sitting at home, locked away. And they started as articles, and now it kind of grew into a book. Uh, I passionately feel about this one thing where people get trapped with whatever's happening around them, the challenges that we mentor them through. And I don't know, honestly, as I sit here and talk, I've thought about it for the past couple of days since you sent me the questions. I don't know. I don't have a platform yet. But I think this window opened and something else will open. It's like you attracting those vibes in your life. How to take it further, how I can, this channel that God has given me, the life, how do I contribute more in the same route, in the same way to bigger people, larger number of people in my life. That's what I want to do. And
That's
I
wonderful.
think ways will come, something will happen.
Thank you. Thank you. Joining forces with you is already great to expand. Thank you. Saskia?
Yes. Yes, what I think, and I say again, I'm referring to my work with refugees and marginalized groups. I was seeking for a way to, how can you reach as many people as possible in such a vulnerable situation? And I think it's by training and mentoring people to train their community. So this is what we are now doing. So we're training people so that they can become mentors and trainers within their own community. And yes, I'm hoping that, and one I can already tell about an achievement in this respect. So because we really, my mission in life has become at this age and after all the things I've gone to give back. So I want to give back everything that I've gone through in my life, and that's why I want to transfer my knowledge, my experience, and so that people just can do whatever they want to do with it. And so this is about starting to build peace in the world. So, but not next to as the heart of whatever we do. We have to really start building peace, because we spend so much money on war, and why wouldn't we spend as much on peace? And I boil it down again to its most essential dimensions. Peace and war starts with us. It's people fighting. It's not something abstract. It's people that have a conflict, it escalates, it becomes, it leads to aggression, retaliation, etc., etc. So if we boil it down to its essence, that it's always people, and what the first thing that breaks down is trust. So how can you then start educating and mentoring people so that they feel responsible, every single individual of us, to contribute to peace? And not with big acts, but day by day think of how can I maintain trust, how can I maintain that relation? And one of the organizations we're working with, they just did it out of themselves. They started a youth movement of builders of peace and hope. And I thought, wow, this is exactly what I want. You know, that they just pick this up and they're just gonna do it. And this is how you can also create a kind of chain reaction. And this is what I also think what's really importance of mentoring.
Yes. Yes, I think it could be like in different area. There is an organization I work with, Anti-Drug Commission. I'm quite involved in recovery from addiction because I went through addiction myself and recovered. So I'm quite committed. And one of their program was to go to an urbanization, a place, and choose one woman in that street and train her to be a mentor, and she will mentor other mothers to prevent and to educate and to prevent. And I thought that was, and that was a great program, low cost, very hard connecting, and huge result. So I'm quite inspired by so many initiatives that we can do to mentor. Like, for example, I remember also when I started aging, I was always so young because I started at 13. So I thought youth's gonna be there forever. Well, guess what? No. Uh, so when I start aging and my body start changing, how much love I felt for women, especially for women, for the processes they went through. And then I went into some training about image and fashion and all these to be shining always. Doesn't matter if the body become a little bit bigger here and bigger there, or the hair change color, and and how that. So for years I've been also mentoring in what is comfort, what is not to be trapped in fashion, what is you create your own fashion, how is it to be comfortable, to be shiny, to accept the self, always taking care of yourself, but accept the changes. Yeah, and you can see a lot of changes with these white hair anyway. But what I mean, I think also mentoring is when you have the heart of a mentor or the skill of a mentor, and you develop more, you always will find a way how to do different, and is so much part of my life that is gonna go bigger or is gonna expand. Or I also remember when I moved to Cyprus, and I'm in the north part of the island. And I remember moving here very skilled with coaching, mentoring, and therapy. And, because we had all these boom in South America in the 80s and the 90s. And I come here and I felt like I'm very sophisticated jewel creator that come to a place that my jewelry are not, nobody want them, are not important. They don't know about them. So again, mentoring saved me, because what I did is that I just observe what is the need, what's the situation, what this community going through, and then understood that relationship one of that. So transform my job to serve the community as a relationship mentor, as a relationship counselor, because which was one of my expertise. So the one thing I want to tell you, that mentor doesn't mentor for herself or herself. A mentor for the others. So we need to listen and see what are the quality, what are the need of this person, what are the need of this community, of this family. And something mentors we work with is, one is to be humble and to be at service, and another one in equanimity and in balance, to be proud of all what you have achieved, all of who have you become. So is how to match this humbleness with this owning your own power. And this is you who's going to stand in front of your mentee to listen and see what is the need of this person, of this couple, of this family, of this community, of this country, of this business, and see what is part of your expertise going to serve. And if you don't have them, part of your service to pass them, to give name of your colleagues that are going to help them in better way than yourself. So this is what I will keep doing for mentoring. Yes. Well, that's a nice celebration of National Mentoring Days, and hope I see you through the year to do great things together in our different countries. I'm at your service, Harpreet, if I can do any service at your institution. Same thing, Jessica, in our both languages. And with Saskia, we have different projects already with our Love to Africa and to South America. We are doing many things together at service. So I will leave you the last word of what you want to say, a sentence or a word about our webinar together today. And let's all cheers and thanks Chelsea for what she has created to join us today. So
let me just invite you
you Jessica, yes.
Okay. Please feel free to collaborate with us too. We're always doing things. We invite you to join us. We have, for example, we have a monthly human conversation where we speak about different topics on human beings. And I would like to invite you all to join us there. We speak about specific topics in a distant process of mentoring that is helping other human beings as well, because sometimes the mentoring that we do comes in different shapes and forms. And that's something I also wanted to touch on. You know, mentoring doesn't necessarily mean at times to be with the person 24/7. No, we can also mentor in the distance, and we can mentor people we don't even know we're mentoring just by showing and giving a good example. And that is something that we're constantly doing at the Institute. And I would like to invite you to join us and do it together with us. And the last thing is, those of you who are listening to us today, do go for it. Be brave, embrace change, embrace the possibilities that you have inside of yourself. Talk to us, talk to other mentors. Take the jump, take the leap, go for it. There's so much you can do if you really dare.
Indeed. Thank you so much. Yes, Harpreet.
I only want to thank you all, Dr. Saskia, Viola, for having me here. It was wonderful. I feel like I found soulmates. And anything, anywhere you think I could be useful, I'd love to be there. Uh, with you, Jessica, with you, Viola, we're already in touch with Dr. Saskia. It would be an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. See, Saskia.
Yes, well, I have to be honest, I feel the same. I feel so touched somehow. I think this is what mentoring is. It's really connecting from heart to heart. And this is what happened in this conversation. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. And I want to, Sadet, I know you get disconnected, but you are in heart and spirit with us. And I can imagine your voice and your beautiful smile with us today here to finish these beautiful, as Saskia called it, heart-to-heart conversation about mentoring. So I thank you very, very much. And you will have our recording to post it later on. And I have to say hello to Nancy Janeja. If any of you would like to be with us, we have another webinar happening in 1 hour, and also in English, because we still have two. We did one in Arabic in the morning, and this was my second, and we still have one in English with some guests and led by MentorX from India. And then we have one in Spanish at your, so hopefully you can join some of that. Meanwhile, thank you so much for being with us, and until anytime soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.